Hello everyone, it's the end of week 2 and I'm here with Kieran Callum.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good talk.
And this is the video I've actually wanted to do for a while. I say I want to do it for a while. Some of the things here I really don't want to talk about actually. But for the purpose of this challenge, I think it would be really good to talk about, and just in general. So we're just going to dive right in, and I really want to start off by saying about when I was a kid. I used to play a lot of video games when I was a kid, and barely ever go out at all. So I was this really shy kid, and pretty damn awkward to be fair. Anyway, that's fine, a lot of people are at this stage. But a few years later, when I was in college, I still kind of was very similar to that. So, you know, I was a little bit more social, but I was still really awkward. And, you know, I didn't really talk to people, didn't really have many friends, that kind of thing. Now, at this point, my friends and, well, everyone else in college was kind of speaking to women a lot more, because, you know, you're kind of 18 and that kind of thing. I wasn't really doing that. I was occasionally, but not really. So as a result, I was kind of not really having many interactions and kind of missing out on a lot, which was, you know, not particularly good. And fast forward that again to my mid-20s, and funnily enough, I kind of still have this same mentality. So I would still, you know, talk to people and that kind of thing, but I also had to rely on alcohol as a big thing as well, here as well. So when I went out to like clubs and that kind of thing, I always had to, felt like to me at least, I had to always drink to actually be able to talk to people. And also when mid-20s, a lot of my friends started to have girlfriends and not really go out so much, which is obviously completely cool by the way. But as a result, I wasn't really meeting many people, at least to me anyway, so that kind of sucked. So at this period, I kind of actually started going out a lot more. Started to use like meetup.com and that kind of thing, which is really good. And started to meet people that did go out more. And going out in nightclubs is good for a start in terms of meeting people. We meet people really easily. But when you're relying on alcohol, like I was, it's not always the best. And I don't know what your thoughts are on it. Maybe not always the best way to meet people in terms of having like meaningful conversation and that kind of thing. It's all about the high, you know.
Well, yeah, clubs are like high energy.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that. So you know,
everyone's either partying or like in seduction mode.
Exactly. Yeah. And there wasn't really any middle ground, so. You know, I was drinking stuff, but it didn't feel like to me I was having like deep, meaningful conversation with people.
Which you wanted to have.
Exactly. That was a very big point. Yeah.
Drinking. Yeah. To meet people.
That's
but
it.
Still too scared to meet people.
Yes, that is pretty much it.
And how did that make you feel?
Pretty bad actually. Obviously I could, you know, talk to people when on the influence and that kind of thing. But I did obviously want to talk to people outside and that kind of thing. And you can't really walk down the street and always drink. Or you could, but I don't really want to do that.
Were you acutely aware of the fact that you needed alcohol to talk to people?
Yes, I was very much aware of it actually, and I didn't really like it. So I really want to change it.
Yeah, I had the same thing.
Yeah. And it's interesting actually, that's when I actually came across your challenges. We met through a mutual friend. I think I remember seeing it on Facebook. I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And a lot of what you were doing was kind of what I was actually looking at myself in terms of, well, at least in terms of you were meeting people, not on relying on alcohol, and in fairly normal places, like streets and that kind of thing. And you didn't like actually need other people to do it as well. You could literally just go out by yourself and do it. So we're going to come on to challenges at the end, but it was just really interesting. I was like, So you know, I sent you a message, I was like, can we meet up and give you some tips and that kind of thing. At this point, I should mention, of course, I still didn't do any of this stuff, but at least I thought it's a cool idea, and maybe I would do it later. A little bit later than this is when I actually decided to start doing, or at least had the idea of doing my birthday challenges. Obviously coming to 30, I was like, actually, you know, this could be an interesting idea. Someone else mentioned it. And I was like, yeah, like, let's start some ideas rolling. And we got chatting a little bit later, and I had 4 ideas at this point. And I remember vividly the conversation we had actually. We were sitting down in a bar, and I said to you, oh, Kieran, so I've got these first 4 ideas. And obviously one of them was the, you know, talking to women. Didn't have a name for it at the time. I was just like, talking to women for 30 days. And you said straight away, what one scares you the most? And obviously instantly I said, oh, like talking to women. and without even skipping a heartbeat, you just went, cool, you should do that one first. This is the interesting part. I remember my response, and I said, you know, I will do it. I'll do it early on. I'll make it like third or something like that. Interesting. I put it back a month. But I make it like third of that, and my reason was I wanted to do some, you know, I was new into video editing and blogging and talking about myself and that kind of thing. So, you know, I wanted to like start a little bit easier, and you know, I thought this would be a harder one later on, and that kind of thing. That's not entirely accurate though. It's not entirely accurate, I'm afraid to say. The real reason is, I mean, those things were true, but the real reason was I was just really scared to do it.
Fear.
Basically, yeah. So I didn't want to do it at all, actually. And again, I went to put it back actually again. So, oh shit.
You know what? The very fact you had it on the list is, you know, still extremely impressive.
Okay.
Because while you were scared to do it at that time, you were scared to do it first.
Yeah.
You obviously weren't too scared to do it because number one, you did have it on the list, and number two, you're doing it now.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Still scared to do it.
I mean, in an ideal world, you might have done it a month ago, but you
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that is true. So I knew I didn't want to do this challenge basically, but this is where it actually gets interesting. Now, I didn't actually want to do it because first of all, I knew it would be really scary, and obviously I don't do this regularly. Like, occasionally, I've done it once or twice if I'm in like a really good mood. Basically, I never do it normally. So doing it for 30 days straight, like, is a really scary experience for me. I don't know what to expect and what other people think of me in terms of, well, at least the women at this stage, and you know, just like what it would kind of involve. But it gets interesting because that was a scary part of it, but actually that wasn't the scariest part. The scariest part for me was actually putting this challenge up, as in making it public and getting what other people kind of like, even hard to say, like getting the reaction what other people would say. Yeah, that was basically it. So obviously, although all the other challenges are public, to me they're not that personal. So go a little bit deeper actually. Even though I think I'm quite shy, I think once I get to know people a little bit, I kind of like open up a bit and I talk about most things with people. This is actually one of the things that I barely ever talk to people about. So I might mention it briefly, like, oh, like how was that date or something. I might mention, oh, yeah, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. I'd never go into detail with like barely anyone. Like I try to not talk about it with anyone basically, and you know, I've only really spoken to a few people about that, and so from going from someone that barely ever talks about it to, oh, hello world, like I'm going to put this massive challenge out and talk the whole thing about it, to me was a really, really daunting experience, and I didn't want that side of it. But the second part is I just didn't know what the hell people would think of me, quite simply. Yeah, so basically I just didn't know how people would react to me. I didn't know if they were like, oh, so this is cool, but also a little bit weird or strange. And just like what their general reaction would be. It's interesting because I don't really normally mind what people think of me. Like, I generally think I'm pretty positive and like put myself in a, you know, in a hopefully positive light in terms of what I do. So I can't really think of why anyone would dislike what I do or chat crap and get on my back basically. If I did, like, I wouldn't really mind too much, so I'm like, whatever. But when it comes to this, I kind of really do mind. I really, really do mind what the people think of me.
Why do you mind?
Because to
What are you
me,
scared of?
this has always been like a weak point to me. Like, women and my relationships and that kind of thing have always been like a weak area. I
Is
think
this the
for
only
me,
weak point in your life?
possibly. I'm sure there are other ones.
So-
but to me, this is the biggest one.
So
That's
you
what I think
care about this
personally.
because you feel it's the biggest?
I think it is the biggest weak point right now for me. And as a result, if anyone was to talk about me, I just feel really shit about the whole thing basically. So I feel like people are like, yeah, like judging me and that kind of thing really.
If someone's judging you, what exactly is it about people looking at you negatively that you're scared of? Are you scared of them saying, haha, Jeff's terrible with women? Are you scared of them saying, Jeff's some creepy guy who's going out there trying to meet girls when he shouldn't be doing that, when he should go through the correct channels?
bit of both really. Not so much the second part, more of I'm just really low, wasn't it?
Like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, basically, like, and always doing the challenge to like prove
Look at him,
something
he's
to
30
someone.
and he hasn't got
Exactly. Yeah, that
fucking loser.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Actually, that is exactly it.
Fucking loser.
Which is interesting, right? Yeah.
Look at him going out there, putting in the effort to learn something that we all just know instinctively.
Yeah.
That shows how low he is on the totem pole.
Essentially. Saying it out loud sounds really funny, but it's kind of true, actually. It's kind of true.
I'm sure I've had the same words, I'm sure.
Yeah, that is interesting. Interesting that you mentioned that. I'd actually go one step further, and there was basically a really good friend of mine, which now lives abroad. I'm not going to mention name, but you know exactly who you are. And he now lives in America, and he was actually over here for the Christmas period. He was here for like a week. And I actually really wanted to talk to him about the challenge. It's obviously been on my mind quite a lot, and I just wanted to see like what he would think of me. Not even what he would think of me, but more his thoughts on the matter. And you know, like people offering advice and blah 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 blah. Anyway, I met up with him and a few other people, and so basically he came over and I chatted about like random stuff, blah blah blah, and I couldn't actually bring myself to tell him. I really could not bring myself to tell him about this. And the night ended as normal, blah blah blah. I said, "I'll see you later." And I didn't see him again actually. He went back a few days later. I missed the opportunity completely, and I felt really, really shit about it. And it's funny because I actually sent him a voice note a couple of days later, and basically said to him like, I actually really want to talk to him about this. And I said like, I really want your input, blah blah blah. But I couldn't tell him. And this is the part that I really don't want to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I actually thought here that he would actually laugh at me, and as well as other people I knew. And I really just thought they'd say along the lines of like, Jeff, what the fuck are you doing? Like, do this challenge, do not do it. Like, this would just be a complete joke. And do not do the challenge, do not put yourself out there. I think it's a really fucking bad idea, basically. So as a result, I basically ended up telling like no one. Obviously I told you, I told a mutual friend of ours, told my social coach, that was it. Didn't tell the majority of my friends I've known for years, didn't tell my parents, didn't tell my brothers, didn't tell people that I actually really wanted to tell, and that actually made me feel really, really shit about myself. Luckily, a side note here, luckily like straight away when I told him, I was like, no, I wouldn't do that, I'd always be supportive, and I completely believe him. But the honest truth is, I didn't know how he and everyone else would react. And it just completely scared me shit. And it still does to this point actually. I still don't entirely know what people think about it. And yeah, it was just like a ginormous fear for me. Like, just what other people would say about it. And, you know, and just one final point here actually. You know, like I'd always hope that people are supportive or can at least understand where I'm coming from. But again, I just didn't know what their reactions would be quite simply. And yeah, it's made me go a bit mad recently with my thoughts. And yeah, I just thought I'd get that kind of all off my chest really. So yeah, that's kind of mainly it really.
How do you feel now that you're actually doing the challenge and posting it up each week?
Really good actually. So I started off a bit nervous obviously about the whole thing, actually pretty nervous about the whole thing in terms of me doing it. And it still went really well actually. Like an important note here as well actually to mention is all the interactions that I've had so far, I've not been told to go away or fuck off, and I've not been awkward at all. And hopefully I won't be told it at all. But if it does happen or people just aren't in the mood to talk for whatever reason, there's hundreds of reasons, then I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever, and just walk away. But that's not happened. It's actually been really smooth, surprisingly, well, to me anyway.
Well, the funny thing is that deep down you knew that anyway, because really and truly, like the vast majority of women who you'd approach, they're going to be bigger and stronger. So what are the odds of them shouting at you and telling you to fuck off, even if they actually wanted to? They're probably not. You know, it's probably not going to happen. And then secondly, you're also very friendly as well.
Yeah.
Really and truly, you knew that the worst that would happen is they would just be not interested.
I don't know, maybe. I still had a feeling that someone would say like, go away, something like that. It's not happened at all.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
But
So it might happen now. It might happen next week.
Well,
hopefully not. But yeah,
it probably happened once, but the vast majority of people are literally just fine. You know?
yeah, it's interesting.
So you have all these fears in your head about what people, you know, what's going to happen. You have all these fears in your head about why you shouldn't, like, oh, I shouldn't talk to them.
Yeah.
But then when you actually go up, it's like none of that stuff actually happens. And
No, it's true.
going back to your fear about what people would think. Firstly, talking from experience, I can guarantee you there's a lot of people who watch what you do and actually don't like it at all. Guarantee. Because there's people like that with me. I've had conversations with people where they've casually mentioned people talking about me behind my back. Okay. Like, for instance, when I did the challenge that you're talking about, my brother's girlfriend, who was his ex-girlfriend now, had a conversation with him and she was like, oh, why is he doing it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, this stuff does happen, but the weird thing is that, actually, as well, truth be told, there's a friend I have who's a really good friend, and his wife used to like me, but now doesn't.
Okay.
I'm reasonably sure it's because of the stuff I do. Reasonably sure. I don't know. Truth be told, firstly, I don't have any real evidence she doesn't like me, except for the fact, you know, you can just tell when people are talking to you. There's been like a change in her attitude. And, well, yeah, that's basically it. There's like a change in her attitude. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, the people who know you and the people who know me, they have you in a little box and say, this is Jeff.
Yeah.
And Jeff's the geek who plays Magic the Gathering online or whatever.
Pokemon, actually.
Yeah, Jeff's the geek who plays Pokemon, and that's what he does. And he listens to, and they're comfortable having you there. So then when you do something to step out, they don't, a lot of people won't like it anyway. So there's that, you'll make people feel uncomfortable, and then also a lot of people have, let's say, beliefs about the way things should be. Okay. Like how you're supposed to meet women and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's true.
And then if you go and do something different, then you make them feel uncomfortable.
That's true. That's true.
But what I'm getting at is, none of the people who have looked down on you have actually affected your life, have they?
No, sure. No, not really.
And then I'm sure there have been a few people who have really supported you.
Yeah, that's.
And then you've had messages from them.
Yeah, that is very true, actually. I guess it just depends how you look at it, really.
Yeah.
It was just a big fear. But yeah, it's going well, I suppose. So I would like to see people's genuine comments, by the way, at the end of this. Obviously, a few people have spoken to me about it. I am being completely honest here, so would honestly appreciate some comments back.
I would like to say something.
Go on.
Because, alright, to anyone who's watching, you're all going to be Jeff's followers, right? There are people watching this video right now who watch every one of Jeff's videos, but for whatever reason, never like or never comment. Right? For whatever reason you don't. You just watch them in silence. The thing is this, speaking from experience, because I do this kind of stuff, I'm got a camera now, right? To do this sort of stuff, firstly, it's terrifying, as you can tell from the conversation. Secondly, it's a lot of hard work, it really is. It's terrifying, it's a lot of hard work, and even though ultimately it's like, you know, to build ourselves up and to evolve as human beings, like, we would also really like to know that we're having some sort of positive impact. It would be really nice, right?
That's true.
So all I ask is, say again, because like none of my people are going to see this, but if you actually like what he's doing, just hit like. It's not going to kill you, right? It's not going to kill you, and what it will do is it will perk him up, and it will let him know in his darkest hours that he actually should continue, because there are people that give a shit and there are people who support him. So please, please. I'm not saying to like it if you don't like it. If you don't like it, fine. Right? But if you actually do like it, just comment. Just hit like or comment.
Yes.
You don't have to wait till you see him in person. I go, oh Jeff, I really like your challenges. You might never see him in person. Just hit like. That's what.
Thank you. Well said, actually. That's funny. We've had a brief conversation about this in the past.
Oh god.
Some honest, brutal honesty. And
So if you like it, like it.
Okay. So that is basically everything I want to talk about, or at least most of the things I want to talk about today, in terms of myself. Now, obviously, as I mentioned early on, I think I must have mentioned it one point or another, and I mention it again, you have done a challenge, or at least a very similar version of a challenge. In fact, you've done loads of challenges. People should watch Kieran's stuff more often. He does really cool stuff.
Oh gosh, alright, got
to go in a minute.
Got about 15 minutes.
15 minutes. So basically, I really want to talk about this very similar challenge you've done, which is called 100 Women in 50 Days. Obviously, I know all about it and basically all the details and the highs and lows and everything that went along with it. But for the purpose of people viewing, can you just tell me a little bit about it and why you decided to do it in the first place? Yeah.
So 100 women in 50 days. Basically, I went out and I approached 2 women a day. Talk to the camera, see what's going on. So I went out and I approached 2 women a day for 50 days, hence 100 women in 50 days. Wasn't trying to get laid per se, I was just trying to talk to women I was attracted to and hopefully have it go somewhere, but the point is I was about actually having that initial chat, going up and talking to the woman who's in Starbucks or who's on the tube or who's wherever, she's reading a book on a park bench. Or she's just walking to work. That's basically what it's about. And same with you, no one said anything bad to me really. There was one woman who said, why would you want to talk to me? And I said something like, because you're beautiful. And she walked off. That was on like day 3 or 4.
Wow, that's really bad.
After that, no, nothing bad happened.
That's interesting.
I did a daily blog and I did a daily blog. I took selfies with girls, filmed videos with some girls as well, which you're not going to try doing. And it was really good for me because it just let me know that I can actually just meet people anyway. But the interesting thing was that from doing that challenge, it's like that challenge just kind of rippled out into my life. So I did that challenge and then I got discovered for a documentary as a result of that challenge.
Going to mention that a little later.
Yeah. Well, I can't really talk too much about it now. Because we have a no disclosure agreement or something.
Okay.
I got discovered for a documentary because of the challenge, and then it fed into other challenges that I did. So I did another one called Singing with Strangers.
Yes. Very good one.
I wouldn't have done Singing with Strangers if not for 100 Women in 50 Days because I was just used to walking up to people. And just saying crap. So Singing with Strangers was where I went up to a stranger every day and said, hey, will you sing a song with me? And can we film it? Yeah, can we record it? So I'd have me on camera. Hey, maybe you can put some of the footage on screen actually. Me on camera singing with strangers.
Basically, yeah,
singing badly with strangers.
And it was good fun to watch actually. You did loads of random songs, and people actually got really, really involved, which I don't know if you expected or not. I wouldn't expect that. If I went to random up to someone and go, oh, do you want to sing a song with me? They'd mainly be like, don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
But once you actually get singing, they get really, really involved, and it's a really good experience for both people.
I learned
to really put outside your comfort zone and that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Well, one thing I learned from Singing with Strangers is that. So I would ask people to sing with me, and I would say 1 in 4 would say yes. What about 1 in 4? So the majority of people said no, but you only saw the people who said yes. But of the people who said no, the majority of the people who said no because they were nervous to sing, not because they didn't want to sing, not because go away, you're a weirdo, how dare you ask me to do that, get the fuck away. It was actually like, I wish I was that kind of person, but I'm not.
Interesting.
And it taught me a lot because usually when somebody would, reject me, so to speak, I would assume it was because they thought I was an idiot or a loser or whatever. But then through Singing with Strangers, and actually to a lesser degree 100 Women in 50 Days, I realised, actually, that's not always necessarily the case. Not always necessarily the case at all.
Yeah.
So you can't take stuff personally. Oh, I'm doing a challenge now actually where I'm doing MMA training.
Yes, I'm going to talk to you about that.
And
so before we even get into that, what made you do this?
I haven't had a fight since I was at school, and you watch an action film and you see some guy taking out 20 guys and you kind of wish you could be that guy, don't you? You kind of do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something it's something that no one really talks about. Though. Like all the men are watching, going, yeah, I do.
They always
It's like,
wish
kind
they
of wonder,
were.
like, what would I be like if I was actually in that kind of situation?
Yeah.
I'd like to know. And also just like the physical training element of it as well.
Yeah.
But I, as well as doing that, I've been like working out in the gym and doing classes at the gym.
Yeah.
And a couple of the classes I've been to, I've asked the trainers of those classes to talk on camera and just talk about the class. And well, I've done it literally twice and they've both said no. But it was because they were scared to be on camera. Not because...
Interesting that they can be like, do whatever they do, they kind of fight and stuff and be completely confident, and then they're just not particularly confident.
Yeah, you'll be surprised at what people are scared of.
Work on it. Maybe they will in time.
Well, yeah, because it's a 6-month challenge, so
Yeah.
God only
Yeah.
knows. It's a
gonna happen at
6-month
the end.
challenge. I'm on week 2. Yeah, I'm on
And
week
do you
2
think,
now.
because I remember seeing about the Facebook thing, do you think you'll get to have a fight at the end, or you're not sure yet?
Probably.
Probably not.
Probably not. I might have like an extended sparring session.
Okay.
But the thing is, I would like to have a fight, but I don't want to damage my health.
Yeah.
Like the guy is
yeah.
like, you're not going to be ready for a fight in 6 months. And the truth is, after actually having the classes, I kind of see what he means, because MMA is like different martial arts.
Yeah, it's
in one.
lots of different things. Yeah.
So because you're learning different martial arts, you learn each one slower than you would do normally.
yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Absolutely.
So I've got a wrestling class today, but I had a Thai boxing class on Monday, and I had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class yesterday. Now, if I was just learning Thai boxing, this would be my my third class of the week.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do another Thai boxing class until next Monday.
And then by that time, you may not have forgotten it, but it's going to get more complicated when you're doing it.
Yeah. So the odds of me actually being good enough to step into a ring and fight someone is slim.
May not happen.
I'd probably have to be like a year and a half or so.
Yeah, okay.
But honestly, I'm basically working out twice a day.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a bloody challenge.
Absolutely.
I've worked
I know.
out today and I'm going to work out now. So
That's crazy,
it's knackering.
Well, the thing about it, even if you don't get to the fight at the end, even doing this challenge, like most people would never even do. Like they might go, oh, that looks really interesting, but even like it and stuff. But I don't think the majority of people ever do it. So even thinking about doing it and putting yourself through it is actually really, really good. So yeah, that's all good, man. Where do we end? I suppose one other question I had was, can you talk about the show you're in? Can I even say the name on camera?
No, actually, annoyingly I can't.
Damn it. Okay.
But all will be revealed in March.
So basically, he's in a TV show about dating in March. That's all I can say. But when it comes out, I'll post the links about it. And keep your eyes peeled basically. And the very last thing I was going to say was check out his stuff as well. I'm going to put the link below for your website, maybe it's the best one.
Yeah.
And check it out, he's done this challenge as I said, in fact the longer version of it, as well as lots of other challenges. He does really, really inspiring stuff, so you guys should really check it out. It's really, really good content. And thanks for being on this week's video. Cool. Thank you. Thanks guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
And one final thing, final thing. I'm going to have my social coach, which is a female one next week. So a female perspective on the whole thing, which could be interesting. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and I'll speak to you next week.
Right. And remember, if you like it, like it. Okay?
Thank you.
If you like it.
If you don't worry.
Don't be shy.
See you guys.